would we be able to start with reading a hate comment that I think would be interesting to talk about?
So I had thought of a, like, how to properly advocate for your breed. Like, if you're going to advocate for your breed, what it should actually look like and what you should do. And then she had actually brought up the idea of, like, how we hear a lot from clients, like, all of my other shepherds were never like this. I've never had a Cane Corso that behaved like this. And them kind of taking their, like, anecdotal one dog experience and generalizing that to the entire breed.
And expecting the dog to be the same as their last dog.
Which plays right into the exact fact of, like, the people that have had one pit bull in their life and they're like, my pit bull would never. And it's like, that's not how you advocate for pit bulls.
Or when you look at TikTok videos of instances where dogs have killed people, like the Presa Canarias. I watched that.
They killed that woman.
Were like, mine would never do that. Don't bully the breed or something like that.
It's because I raise them differently.
It's how you raise them.
Yeah, and it's like, you can't take your personal anecdotal experience of your dog of a certain breed that you have. Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to talk about a couple different topics today, but mainly revolving around the idea of, like, how to properly advocate for your breed. If you have a breed that you love, that you own, what it looks like to actually advocate for them, what's helping it, what's harming it, and all of the nuance with that. Bridget's going to start us off with a hate comment to get this rolling.
It's interesting because in the moment, I don't have any desire to go back and forth in the comments with people.
Yes.
So we recently had Hugo, who is Cane Corso, came to us for some extreme fear reactivity. His mom had an extremely difficult time with him as she travels back and forth from New York City. The city sounds, it was all overwhelming for him, and he would pull her down. He'd be very, very fearful, and she just couldn't have that. So we've been working with him extensively, building his confidence around those things and getting him into scenarios that are busy so she can have a successful life with him. So we posted a really great video of him that Cindy's been working with him. She's done incredible with him. So we literally posted a video describing his fear reactivity and how we're working through it. And Click for Treats, who comments on a lot of our stuff, says, tails tucked, ears pinned back, no engagement, lip lick, stress panning, poor baby is scared.
Yeah, he is.
And then she tags Revealing Bad Dog Training, which is an Instagram account. So apparently she's...
Oh, we're going to get put on, like, a expose account?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I thought it would be interesting to talk about because, in fact, Hugo's mom did see that, and she's a very, in a very good way, very sweet and sensitive person. And she was like, I saw the video of him, and she's like, I was so happy to see what you've done with him. He looked incredible. He looked happy. And then she was like, who is that person that commented? And I kind of went off a little bit, with her. And I said, Lisa, I'm going to say something.
That person ain't shit.
Yes. I just want to talk about the accounts that are body language accounts are bullshit. And if your primary training style is reading body language, I'm sorry.
What context do you have?
Yes.
What context do you have? You don't know this dog. You don't know what it used to be like. You don't know. You literally know nothing. And you think you have the knowledge and the audacity to take a clip of something.
Like a 30-second
and
clip.
think that you know every fucking thing about that dog and what we should or shouldn't be doing with it and what it should look like or shouldn't look like. And it's frankly like, it's amazing that you think that highly of yourself.
Oh, and she tagged, or he or she tagged their lessons on body language too. So we'll be educated.
Oh, good. I had no idea.
Language.
Free publicity.
Yeah.
I'm really novice in that area. I had no idea.
But it goes to show you that when you're on the internet and you're in a public space like this, people are going to come up with all these bullshit things. And with Hugo's mom, she knew her dog. She knew that in that video, she's like, oh my God, like this is huge for us.
Yeah.
So kind of having to tell her, just ignore that. She was like, okay, like, I have no problem doing that. She said, I know that you're taking really good care of him. But when we are working through fear things that are dog's triggers, it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies and treats and kisses. It's going to be hard work. And that is in his journey process. That is not his end. That is, work is still going to be continued. And for the time period, if his ears look tucked back, it's because he's taking in the environment.
That's what he used to be
switch, that people think it's
Yeah.
like, you get this dog that's super fearful of going outside and super loud noises and crowds and all this stuff. It's like, there's not this like switch that's just like, oh, now they're good. It's like, he's so much better than when he first came in. Obviously, he still is working through that anxiety and kind of that exposure. And that's what we saw.
Sorry to interrupt you.
It's all right.
That's kind of plays into the thing of like, you look, okay, first of all, this is a Cane Corso. You can't have this dog behaving the way it was behaving.
Yes,
because what did this look like before? If you care to know, click for treats. This dog looked like a dangerous dog.
That was biting people.
Yes.
So it was already freaked out, already scared, already nervous. And then on top of that was lunging, pulling its owner down, biting people, performing extremely dangerous behaviors. So to look at this and say that somehow what we did was a step backwards,
or that we caused
in your
anxiety.
opinion, or we caused these issues. No, we took a dog that was dangerous and we're making it safe.
Yes.
When you have a breed like that, proper advocation for a breed like that is don't let it hurt people.
Right.
Don't let it pull you down in the process, and the argument's going to be like, well, don't put him in situations like that. It's unavoidable. She has to. Do you want her to use pee pads in her apartment?
Right.
Like, the dog has to go out, it has to go places, and it has to know it can't just do whatever the fuck it wants when it feels scared.
Yep.
And with big breeds like that, like, yes, positive reinforcement can get you pretty far, but it's not going to do everything.
No, it's not. And it's scary to me to think, these are the moments where it's scary to me to think that those are the people that want to ban prong collars, e-collars, and the tools that allow us to level the playing field physically with those dogs. How are you going to control that dog to any degree if it wants to physically overpower you?
Right.
And so it's like,
It's
yes.
pulling the owner down.
Yeah, and it's like, it's sure, if you took a Cane Corso puppy from a wee little baby and you raised it exactly perfect, exactly right, had great genetics, if everything was correct, yes, maybe you could go its whole life without ever having to use tools and be super comfortable with controlling it and take it everywhere and all this stuff. That's not the case for 99% of people.
Yeah.
And so eliminating being able to use those tools to effectively control those dogs, either one, those dogs are not going to be owned by as many people that could enjoy them, because if I can't physically control a dog and I'm not allowed to use tools to help me do that, I can't get it, right? So you're really limiting the pool of people that would be able to own that breed and enjoy it. So again, if you care about those breeds and those powerful dogs, the proper way to advocate for them is allowing people to do the right type of training to be able to have them to be safe around others.
It was just not going to work for her. Any car backfiring, bus backfiring, train passing by would send this dog into an absolute frenzy.
Yeah.
And the owner said that she does not feel safe. Like, she loves this dog to death, and he is a very happy dog that's full of joy and love. And if sometimes he gets nervous when we go outside, but he's well behaved and he's in our heel position, so be it.
You said she lives in New York City.
Yeah, she travels back and forth from New York City.
That doesn't sleep. Literally, one of the loudest, most crowded cities in the world.
Yeah, there's literally never a time of day in the 24 hours that you could take that dog out and it not see something or hear something or...
Yeah, so click for treat. I'm sorry, I will not be watching your body language videos because I'm busy training dogs, and I would hope that you would be doing the same instead of watching people's videos and spending your time and energy critiquing things that you know nothing about.
That aren't your clients.
Yeah.
Hugo's doing the damn thing.
Yeah, Hugo is
Yes.
freaking killing it, and we are so excited to showcase his progress and get his owner started with that. So let's focus on the positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfect with going into kind of what we're talking about today, with advocating for the dogs too.
Yep,
So.
absolutely. I think for me, the most like the frustration I get from that is the way that people, and I think there's one community in particular that we all know of, but the way that certain people go about trying to advocate for certain breeds is so counterproductive.
It's borderline bullying to like.
Yes.
You bully people into trying to be
It's very
on the
tone
same.
deaf.
Yeah.
It's very tone deaf. It's very insensitive.
It's very unprofessional too.
Yes. Because I think so. For the most part, like you think about like Malinois and Dutch Shepherds and stuff. Like the community of people that own those dogs, we tend to always get shit on for gatekeeping. Right? Of saying like, oh, nobody should get these dogs. These are not pets. You shouldn't get these dogs. Blah, 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 blah. And people shit on us and they're like, you're gatekeeping. You think you're so special that you can have that dog, but nobody else can have that dog. It's like, I'm miserable. Okay? And if I'm miserable as a dog trainer who can do the things that he needs to have done every single day, you as a normal person who works a 9 to 5 and has 4 kids, you're going to be
and 2 other dogs.
Utterly you will be suffering. Okay? This is not, and that dog will be suffering. Like you can't, proper breed advocation is looking at the dog for what it is, seeing what it was designed for, what it was created for, and then asking yourself, can I give this dog a home where I can fulfill those genetic needs that it has and handle it safely and realistically? Right?
And still be able to enjoy the dog.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Obviously, I'm being dramatic when I say
Yes.
I'm miserable. But you talk to most people that own these dogs, and that's all we're joking about, is how they simultaneously ruin our lives, but for some reason we love it, okay? And most people, and I think that that's such an important message to get out about Malinois and Dutch Shepherds and all of them, is because they aren't for the average owner. They're just not. They can be very dangerous dogs. They take up so much time and so much energy. And so you have to kind of, that we want to paint the picture to these people of like, this isn't a normal pet. This isn't going to be like a golden retriever. This isn't going to be any of those things. And so you need to know what you're getting yourself into. If someone truly wants to get one of these dogs and understands the real ramifications of it, already has training lined up, already has mentors in place, already has X, Y, and Z, I would love to welcome you into the Malinois community. You know what I mean? But it's like, you have to have a little bit of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Not everything can be for everyone, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to like the pit bull community, the biggest issue is that everybody takes their own anecdotal experiences with their singular dog, who probably isn't even full pit bull.
Right.
Okay, it's probably a shelter mutt. That's some kind of bully breed mix.
Yes.
Okay, pit bull is a breed, American Pit Bull Terrier. I can't believe people still in this day and age are saying it's a category or it's not a real breed. It is a real breed. Most of the time, are people getting full American Pit Bull Terriers when they get them from shelters? Probably not. There's probably Staffy in there. There's probably American Bulldog. There's probably a number of different things. That's also why it can get so dicey at times. But you just have to be so careful with taking your personal experience with one dog that is a general mutt of the breed that, you know, they're characterized as, and projecting that onto all of the thousands to tens of thousands of pit bulls in the world and saying, oh, they would never do this, this, or this. Who are you trying to gaslight? Yeah. We see it everywhere.
It's all how you raise them.
Yeah, it's like, how out of touch, how much cognitive dissonance do you have to comment on a video of somebody talking about how their lip got ripped off by a pit bull, to comment and be like, my pit bull would never do that. How much cognitive dissonance do you have to have?
Yeah, or videos like on TikTok specifically. TikTok is the Wild West.
Yes.
Of people that have, it's like news stories of dogs that have killed people.
Yes.
And literally scrolling and scrolling pages and pages of, oh, it's all how you raise them. Fluffy would never do that. He would never engage in that kind of behavior. And
what did you do to that dog? Like, some of the things are absolutely, like,
and
horrendous.
Blaming the owner, blaming,
yeah,
like, everything's on the owner, and just like
blaming the person who got attacked.
Yeah.
Even.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
my dog would never do that unless somebody was doing something terrible to it. So what did you do to that dog? Or all of these crazy things. And it's like somebody just got permanently disfigured.
Here we go again. Someone blaming the dog. It's like
you know, it's like
it is the dog's fault.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just like
it's absolutely insane to me. I recently saw a comment. So there was a video of a young man now, but when he was like 8, he was attacked by his 2 family pit bulls, and he lost an eye. The whole side of his face was disfigured. He had to have skin grafts. Like, it was bad. And I actually saw such a beautiful comment underneath of it, and I've never seen a comment like this before. And that was kind of what got me thinking about all of this, because I was like, this is the way that you advocate for your breed in moments like that. When you see the devastation that they can potentially cause and what can happen. Someone commented and said, as a bully breed owner, I am so sorry this happened to you, because these dogs need such intense amounts of training, and unfortunately not everybody knows that and follows through with that. So my heart breaks for you, and I'm really sorry that this happened. I was like, there it is. Like, empathetic, compassionate, but yet still advocating that if these dogs are trained and managed properly, these things don't have to happen. But the reason they happen is because people still continue to this day to say, oh, but mine would never. These are such great family dogs. They were a nanny dog. They were this. They were that. Just all of this nonsense that is not historically accurate or true in any way. Imagine if everyone in the Malinois community just woke up one day and was like, these dogs are great. Everyone should get one.
Yep.
What do you think is going to happen?
Don't listen to those stories about them being crazy.
Yeah, they're not that crazy. They're fine.
You can love a dog by advocating for it and what kind of owner and what kind of lifestyle it should fit into. Not that every pitty is inherently going to attack you or another dog, but you have to recognize that pit bulls and Cane Corsos and dogs like that do have the ability to attack because it is in their breed DNA, aggression, and that conflict versus conflict. Like, they're built to fight.
Yes. They're built to neutralize the threat. If they perceive a threat has been presented, they are taught to continue until that threat is neutralized.
Literally why they were created.
Yes. Yes.
Into our next point is, like, when we often get clients, and as trainers we've heard time and time again, like a person gets a German Shepherd or a Cane Corso, and then they get another one, and they fall into this trap of comparing the 2 dogs, and they're like, but my last Shepherd could be around anybody, and he loved them, but my last Cane Corso loved my kids, and now this one is being a dick to my kids. And you fall into this comparison where you're expecting every dog to be the same, and while breed traits can be common between the 2 dogs, personalities are so vastly different.
Yeah, personalities are very different, and you may have got the exception to the rule.
Right.
You know, I've met some, like, very weirdly social Cane Corsos. That's so uncharacteristic of them, generally, to be, like, outgoingly friendly.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
for example. Like,
It's so odd.
Yep.
Most of the time, they're...
You almost are more surprised by those dogs because you're like,
Yes, because...
what's wrong?
Exactly, you're like, when's the other shoe gonna
it's
drop?
like
Yeah,
a healthy
yeah.
skepticism.
Yeah, because it's most of the time a Cane Corso's temperament is they have a high likelihood of dog aggression, at least same-sex dog aggression. So if you have a male, they're not going to do well with other male dogs. If you have a female, not well with other female dogs. And they're going to be very stranger suspicious and selective. They're not supposed to be outright aggressive, but they are supposed to be reserved, kind of aloof, and defensive of their family and their territory. And so when you meet one that's super friendly and outgoing and all this kind of stuff, that's very, very unusual, and that is the exception. So if you get a breed and you look at its breed description, you talk to people that are experts in the breed and what characteristically they're supposed to behave like, and yours is the complete opposite, don't expect to get another one and it be like that.
Yeah, and that's where people
because it's probably not going to
get very devastated and sad because they live, and it's not necessarily fair to a dog to live in comparison. Like, we just had a dog that did a boarding tune-up with us, did a board and train with us a long time ago, and he reached his maturity and he was starting to act asinine, bite people in the house, Cane Corso, rushed the door, biting people at the door. And I went over there, very sweet owners, wonderful people, but she kept saying, well, he's not like my last dog. My last dog would let this and this happen, but he's not like that. And he was displaying very, very behaviorally, and he was acting like a Corso.
Yeah. He said, this is my house.
Yes.
Get out.
Yes. And she was like, well, I'm just terrified that if he acts on that, what he'll do. And I said, you should be. Like, not to live in fear and not to make you feel nervous, but you need to be on top of this dog right now, and you can have a no tolerance policy for him guarding the house and jumping out the window and biting people when he comes in. Just because you have a Cane Corso doesn't mean you can't manage it properly and do the training that's going to make this dog successful and ultimately be able to live with your family. So
yeah. Well, and I think something like we were just saying too, with like reaching out to the professional of the breed and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, obviously get professional opinion, not like your neighbor that had a Cane Corso
yes
10 years ago or whatever, or like a friend or whatever. I think also going to the point of comparing dogs, like my first German Shepherd as opposed to my German Shepherd now or something, is I think a lot of people forget where their life was when they had the first one, as opposed to, how
that's a good point.
drastically different your lifestyles can be. Like maybe you were able to spend more time with that first one. Maybe you didn't have a kid for the first one, or you had a kid in the process of having that first dog, and now you're bringing a new pup or a new German Shepherd, whatever, like dog to that lifestyle. And of course your life is different. So not to say that that's the only reason why, but I think a lot of people do kind of forget about that situation as well.
That's a good point, because you think about, like, maybe in the context of this is their second Cane Corso and it's having a really hard time with their kids' friends coming in and out of the house unexpectedly and yada, yada, yada. And they're like, my first dog never did this. And it's like, well, you didn't have kids.
Right.
So this was never happening.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it was just an issue that never presented to you, because your lifestyle is completely different.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
That's exactly the situation with the dog I was just talking about, is that she kept comparing her old dog and how this new dog the old dog wasn't displaying these behaviors, but she told me that she never had kids with her old dog.
Yeah.
And now she has a house full of children and she has a lot going on and she manages a lot, and ultimately it became harder for her to really focus in on the dog and the dog's needs. And she's fully recognizing that. So.
Yeah. I think when you're kind of talking about, like, speaking to people that are experienced with the breed and things like that, like, as I don't have, like, I think I have specific breeds that I, like, am drawn to, but I'm definitely, like, the type of owner where as I get older and I get more dogs throughout my lifetime, I want to kind of experience lots of different breeds. I think that maybe I'll always have, like, a Dutch Shepherd or something. But beyond that, I want to have, like, I have my Chihuahua now. I'm considering getting, like, a giant Schnauzer or, like, a Black Russian Terrier at some point, or, like, something like that. And I obviously have, like, very little experience with those types of dogs. And I know that especially Black Russian Terriers can be super serious. So I've done a lot of, like, my own research on joining breed groups on, like, Facebook, or getting in contact with breeders and making, like, relationships and, like, trying to expand my knowledge to really find out, like, is this a breed that's actually going to fit well with my lifestyle or whatever it might be. And when you join breed groups on Facebook, here's, like, things to look for.
I was just going to ask.
On if they're, like, a good source of information
or
a bad source of information. if you join a breed group and no one is talking or like warning you about things with the breed that are difficult, go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I'm in a yak terrier breed group because one day if I could get a yak terrier. But I know my limits right now, and it's not a yak terrier right now. But that group is like, if anyone new joins and they're like, hey, I'm kind of like interested in the breed, whatever, all the comments from people underneath, oh, you really, if you don't hunt, don't get this dog. If you don't live on a farm, if you don't have acreage, don't get this dog. So, and that tells me that these people know what they're talking about because they know the limitations of what these people might be coming into the situation with, and they want to paint a realistic picture.
Yeah.
You know, if you join a yak terrier breed and they're like, yeah, these dogs are great. They're great as family dogs, and they're great as this and this and this, and nobody's giving you like potential red flags of the dog, then I would go somewhere else. Just because I think it's super important that you're getting accurate information when you're trying to figure out if a dog is going to be a good fit.
Yeah, and it even goes for like, I'm more attracted to the smaller, I love small dogs, I love like, you know,
the softer, sensitive types.
Yes, the Italian Greyhound, the Chihuahua, dogs of that breed. So I just recently had a client that got a puppy Chihuahua, and we were talking, and she was like, I didn't realize that with even a Chihuahua, it takes a certain skill level to keep that dog out of harm's way. And there are things that you cannot do with your tiny ass little dog that you can do with your other dog. So she kept being like, well, with my lab, I can do this. My lab, I can do that. And the risk for doing these things that she was talking about are so much less than if she took her Chihuahua to do these things. And the Chihuahua could die if the wind blows too hard. You know?
Yeah.
A big dog like trips and falls, you know, it's something where it's just like even doing those things.
You know how many Chihuahuas have been killed because people sat on them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Literally a lot.
Yeah.
Like
more than you think.
I know of two.
Think of a number.
I know of two personally that's happened to.
Or
like it's so sad.
It can
but
be
like
fatal too. Like taking them to dog parks is like can be a fatal mistake. Socializing them with the wrong dogs, taking them out for a walk can be result in things. So like you always have to be aware. I'm not saying be nervous and neurotic like I am, but like
you have to be alert, not anxious.
Yes, yeah. So
you're working on the not anxious part.
Yes, yeah, but you have to look at everything. And I just got a tiny little dog about a year ago, and I love her more than life itself. But I recognize that I can't do things with her that I can do with Sunday. And I love going for hikes and doing that stuff. So having a dog like Sunday and then having Pipsqueak at home, I could have the best of both worlds without really pushing it. Yeah. And yes, I can do those things with Pipsqueak, and I do them, but it's in a different way.
Yeah. Right. Like even when I go hiking with Snoop, like I'll usually, depending on the environment I'm in, have a long line attached to him, even though he's fully off leash reliable, because I have these like visions of like a fox running out and grabbing him and like running away.
Or like a hawk or like an owl
and that's another point is like I always am watching like are there like large birds of prey or like things like that, and usually if like my other dogs are around as well, I think that lessens the chance that they're gonna do something like that. But still, it's a very different set of like awareness when you have a dog that's much smaller than if you have a larger dog.
And even like something super funny happened, which you know could technically be bad, but I had my Stanley Cup and I like swung it and I cracked Pip in the head hard with the Stanley Cup, and I was like, that could have killed her.
Yep.
And she was like, for a minute, it was an accident. It was a complete accident. I didn't mean to do it. For a minute, she screamed, and I was like, what if people drop things on, if you're working out and you have weights, and I accidentally dropped a weight on her, or kettlebell.
Or you trip on them or something, you know?
I trip on Snoop all the time. He's always like right underneath me.
Like this, I have a sliding door, and one time I literally watched my husband slam the sliding door, and she got her head back within a second, but it was so close. And I went in and I was like, if you ever slam that door again.
Oh my gosh. I would say, to sum it up, if we were going to sum it up, if you truly care about your breed, you need to take a hard look and stop lying to yourself.
Yeah.
For a breed to be respected and safe and not have breed restrictions and not have legislation and not have laws and not have requirements of them, of muzzles and signs and certain color collars and all of this kind of stuff, the way that's going to happen is by us recognizing and respecting the breed for what it is and educating people on actually how to own and train and handle those dogs responsibly. And what isn't going to help and what has not helped, clearly, things have not gotten any better. They've only gotten worse for pit bulls and power breeds like that, is by continuing to spew the same bullshit narrative that these dogs are so friendly and would be great if just raised properly and if they were loved enough. How insulting to say that somebody probably just didn't love their dog enough.
Right.
Or didn't do things properly or right, or over-socialize them, under-socialize them, whatever it may be. And just like some dogs are genetically fucked up, and a lot of the time that's pit bulls.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah,
I
don't
can't
get
really-
a dog just because they look badass.
Yeah.
I truly can't think, really, of any other breed community of a breed that has the capacity for violence that has any of the same tactics of acceptance. I don't. I mean, you look at any of the other breeds that can be equally as dangerous as a pit bull, and nobody is out there going, oh, they're so friendly, and they were nanny dogs, and they were this. No one is doing that. And that's why they're not the ones all over the headlines, right? Because the reason that pit bull attacks make headlines is because it's shocking, because it goes against the public narrative of what pit bulls are described to be.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have to look at this realistically and with the actual historical. If you do 20 seconds of actual research on the breed, it will dispel all the myths for you. If you go to actual sources about any factual information.
And it truly, like, standing up for your breed is like proper advocation of what the dog can do and like how to properly raise it and how to properly manage it. It's like there's a lot that goes into it, and it's not just one little solution. It's a combination of things that make it successful.
I think it's just people are obsessed with needing a dog to be friendly.
Yeah.
And needing like the perception of them to be that they're nice dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs don't need to be nice. They just need to be safe.
Some dogs
to
aren't
them.
meant to be nice.
Some dogs aren't meant to be
Don't
nice.
put that
That's the
dog
other
in
thing.
situations.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That it's not. It's going to show you that it's not nice, and you're like, oh
Right.
my
I'm
god.
so
Yes.
surprised. Right.
What?
Dogs are predators.
Yeah.
They're doing what is instinctual to them, what is natural to them.
Like, Casey over here got into a chicken, and the chicken didn't win.
The chicken did not win.
Yes.
Oh, like that video I showed you
Oh
of
my
the
God.
GSP.
Can we watch
We're
that
gonna
really
end
quick?
it with a TikTok video that I'm gonna
When I
pull
tell
up
you
I
really
haven't seen
quick.
this one
That
yet.
I laughed so hard at this video.
People always ask me if my German short-haired pointer, Rambo, gets along with my rabbit, Charles. It's a really simple answer, actually. No. They're not allowed anywhere near each other. Charles is a rabbit. Rambo's a pointer. Rambo'd kill him. Hope this helps.
Cut and
There you
dry.
go.
That
There you
is
go.
the mentality
Yes.
you need
Oh
to
my
have. Instead of
gosh.
being like, Rambo would never hurt him.
Right.
Because he has
Yeah.
morals.
And you
We're-
know what
or we're
what one of
working
the
on it,
comments I
whatever,
saw under
yeah.
there? One of the comments I saw under there was, meanwhile, my pit bull gets bullied by my rabbit. One day your rabbit's gonna die.
Yeah.
That is
And
the
how
silliest
irresponsible.
thing. You have a terrier, okay? Terriers are meant to hunt and kill animals. That is the silliest thing. But that's
Forget to
exactly
feed your
what
pit
it
bull
is.
dinner one time and
Yeah,
then let them run together.
Right? Let him be hungry enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that video, I died when I saw that. I was like, thank God, some
Yeah, that's
common
hilarious.
sense out there in the TikTok sphere.
Love to see it.
Alright, well,
All right.
I hope that you found some.
Help someone.
Yeah, I
Yes.
hope that this made you take a hard look at how you've been speaking about your dog or your breed or anything like that.
Or
Dogs
if you're
are
getting bullied by someone who's trying to like say something different,
Yes.
don't listen to them.
yeah.
Do your
Advocate for your
research.
dog.
As
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
research is a great thing to do before you get a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Yep.
someone wants to try to bully you, maybe give them the research so that they can kind of learn too. You know,
Yep.
we're all about learning new things.
And lastly, body language isn't everything.
Oh,
Yes.
there's context is everything with that stuff.
Mhm.
So, yeah, be careful who you follow and trust as like a viable source of information.
Mhm.
Because we do live for a treat.